Hi, so we're almost 100 days into the 45th presidency. I'm going to start off by quoting from a speech our current Secretary of HUD made on his first day in his new job as HUD Secretary, reaffirming that every human being, regardless of their ethnicity or background, they have a brain. Human brain, which surprisingly enough, we all know to be true. Wasn't in question, at least that's not what I thought. So I had no idea that this was in question, especially for a HUD secretary. Is there some big conspiracy they are foreshadowing regarding the president and lack thereof? As HUD Secretary Ben Carson so eloquently put it, a human brain. Or does this conspiracy go farther into the administration to the likes of constant symbol of education gone wrong, Secretary of Educatuan, Betsy DeVos, and today's favorite, committed brain aneurysm and poster boy for skin bleaching cream, Sean Spicer, the press secretary. Now, I have been wanting to do this episode over at the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin, Germany, to enunciate the shame of the incredible gaffe made by bleach strips for the face, Spicy, regarding the actual Holocaust. But since the weather here has been so crap, even snowing today, I simply will include a photo of the Holocaust Memorial with a view of the American Embassy in the background, because for those of you who don't know, the American Embassy is right next to the Holocaust Memorial. So if Spicer or even Trump ever come to meet the German Chancellor Angela Merkel, you can look out of any of the 30 windows facing the south side of the building and see the very real memorial to the millions of Jews who were either gassed, starved, or simply executed, and their only crime being part of a religious denomination. So in other words, as we Americans came to know it, as innocent civilians. Now, you can walk the streets as well and notice that at various points in times in front of buildings, there will be these gold or steel plaques, little square stones, basically. They're supposed to be basically they take out the real stone, they put in these steel plaques, and these are donated. Basically, you can give money to sponsor these plaques, and each one represents an individual Jew that was extradited from their home and shipped off to a concentration camp, or as Germans called it, Arbeitslagers. Now, Holocaust centers? Really? Do you think the families just volunteered to drop their kids off at the Holocaust centers? That the recreational activities and the community organizations offered there would be beneficial to their children's development? Did these Holocaust centers have good art programs? Well, Mr. Spicer, I have been to this Holocaust Memorial, and I can tell you the facts, images, and stories are harrowing. In fact, here is just a little history lesson for you and all those other DeVos-educated mishaps. But just focus on those bold letters. I don't want to just, after seeing that, point in fact, I don't want to just pick on these three miscreants, because the shame is much further reaching than just these three mentioned. So when observing this president's cabinet and his surrounding administration, we as Americans have been reminded far too often that all of them seem to have so badly damaged their gray matter that they just blather in every public appearance. I mean, in honesty, we are hard-pressed to find one competent verbalizer in the Trump bunch. As Black Trophy Diversity hire Carson said earlier, we all have human brains. But to what capacity does the administration appointees have the fortitude to actually use their brains and trigger the gray matter in order to construct coherent thought through verbal dialogue? On average, I hypothesize it stands at around 10%. I mean, is it the president confusing Iraq and Syria? Is it Spicer comparing Assad to Hitler? Is it Carson claiming that slaves were immigrants, simply just looking for a better life? Is it DeVos defending guns in elementary schools to protect them from bears? Because we know the people or the creatures on this earth in which we have to protect our children from are the bears. Sessions lying in his confirmation hearing about Russian meetings, the top military advisors stating their naval ships were someplace that they actually weren't, or Pruitt arguing that CO2 emissions have no correlation to climate change. Or is it Mulvaney arguing that after-school programs for the children are just not providing enough financial benefits? Because, I mean, all they do is actually feed children. Disastrous. And all of these people thus mentioned seem to have so badly damaged their gray matter that non-coherent verbal communication is a determining job requirement for all domestic positions. I mean, if Dr. Ben Carson likes drilling into people's brain, as he let people so eloquently know at that speech for HUD, then can he use his own colleagues as possible test subjects to drill into their brains to stimulate that temporal lobe and jumpstart their gray matter? Looking back, Heidi Fleiss had more control in politics than this administration has thus far. And for any of you 5 watchers who take notice of me and my rants, if you are too young to know who Heidi Fleiss is, I suggest you look her up. Go back, have some fun. I mean, every day our country's government displays another performance mirroring the cast of the satire Veep. Veep, for those of you who are missing out, is a brilliantly written political satire. Something you never thought, something you always looked at and knew it was just television. It's just satire. I mean, no way could behind the scenes politics actually be this dysfunctional and neurotic and sociopathic. And they have won Emmys for it, well-deserved Emmys. But our administration is performing like this group portrayed in Veep, this callous, self-centered buffoons. And I mean, this is a cast and it's a created series that is for the comical benefit of television ratings. Why are we now, and I know I cannot be the only one that has seen the correlation, why are we now correlating that with our current 45th administration? Because this is where we are. We just have to admit it. This is where we are. We are a TV comedy. We are at the point where a TV comedy is more reflective of our sitting president than anything. I mean, we have a TV satire, and then in contrast, we have TV political dramas. And the television drama is more ideal than our actual empowered administration. Every week I catch up with President Kirkman, or I binge stream it on Netflix, and certain speeches where I cry in the television show, some of it, the sadness comes from the realization that, why can't I have a president like this? What happened? And I long for the age of respect, both by and for the office of president. I mean, it's a sad day in American politics, when Kiefer Sutherland, a Hollywood actor, can embody the character of the president better than the actual president himself. Where the writers for a television show can compile more substantial, robust policy platforms than the actual human brains surrounding the 45th administration. I mean, we are living the real-life satire of a Selena Myers presidency in real time, except without the brilliant humor. It's a staff of Jonahs in the White House. And it's a shit show embarrassment, which is Russia, fear-mongering, nepotism. You name it, it's embarrassing. And, Russia. No day can go by without some little tidbit, nugget, noose of Russian information. So there was a Twitter post that was published in response to a Trump troll that went out to defend the ongoing federal investigation into our current president, questioning the validity, actually, to the confirmations which both NSA director and FBI director Comey gave before the Senate Intelligence Committee. And I will try and do it justice as I read it out. It's got a lot to it, so here goes. I don't know. It's hard for me to see any ties to Russia. I mean, well, except for the Flynn thing, and the Manafort thing, and the Tillerson thing, and the Sessions thing, and the Kushner thing, and the Carter Page thing, and the Roger Stone thing, the Felix Slater thing, the Boris Epstein thing, and the Rousseff thing, and the Gazprom thing, and the Sergei Gorkov banker thing, and the Azerbaijan thing, and the I Love Putin thing, and the Donald Trump Jr. thing, and the Sergei Kislyak thing, and the Russian-affiliated interest things, and the Russian business interest things, and the emoluments clause thing, and the Alex Schneider thing, and the hack into the DNC thing. Oh, and then there's the Guccifer thing, and the Ivanka vacationing with Trump, vacationing with Putin's girlfriend thing, and the Mike Pence, I don't know anything thing, and the Russians mysteriously dying thing, and the Trump's public request to Russia to hack Hillary's email thing, and the Trump's $95 million house sale during the bottom of the housing bust to the Russian fertilizer king thing, and the same Russian fertilizer king's plane showing up in Concord, North Carolina during Trump's rally campaign thing, and the Ivanka Jared visit with the same Russian fertilizer king in the Croatia thing, and the Nunez sudden flight to the White House thing, and the Nunez personal investments in the Russia thing, and the Cyprus Bank thing. Oh, and wait, then there's the Trump's Commerce Secretary, Wilbur Ross, overseeing the Russian deal with Vice Chairman of the Bank of Cyprus thing, and then there's Trump not releasing his tax return thing, which is still going on, and it's the Republican Party's rejection of the amendment to require Trump to show his taxes thing, and the election hacking thing, and the GOP platform change to the Ukraine thing, and then there's the Steele dossier thing, and the Leninist Bannon thing, and then the Sally Yates thing. She's not testifying, and then the intelligence community's investigating reports thing, and the Eric Prince thing, and the Trump's reassuring into the Russian connection is all fake news thing. I'm getting tired of things. And the Spicer's Russian dressing nothing wrong thing. And there's probably nothing there since the swamp has been drained, and because these people would never lie, probably why Nunez cancels the investigation meetings. All of this must be normal. Just a bunch of separate dots with no connections whatsoever thing. And that was offered by Lena Crothers. And since thus all these things, update. Since it was published, there's the Rudy Giuliani is now cooperating with the FBI thing, plus the Ryan and the Mitch McConnell have now been rolled into it for funneling Russian money through their super PACs thing. Oh, just more shoes dropping thing. I mean, who would have thunk it? So I just wanted to give a little props out to the woman there throwing some excellent shade at the Trump trolls, or it could have been a bot. I just really don't know nowadays. On top of that, Trump tweeted today, because you can't, I mean, when speaking of Twitter, of course I have to include the president in that. He tweeted the latest Rasmussen poll regarding his approval ratings, claiming that he has finally surged to a 50% approval rating, the highest it's been since taking office, as he leads into his 100th day. But fortunately, shortly thereafter, a more credible polling company, referred to as the Pew Research Polling, released their poll, actually confirming that the president is still at a 39% approval rating and a 54% disapproval rating. So in closing, I'd like to focus on the fail. This episode's version of a fail. Set the mood. It's a lovely DC day in DC. Sun shining, birds are chirping, the kids are playing. Families have come out to enjoy the traditional egg rolling celebration at the White House. The immediate first family was dressed in their best pastels before a crowd of holiday Christians. Marine Gunnery Sergeant takes her place at the mic and the national anthem rings out. And then it didn't happen. But thank goodness for Melania, who is seen giving him an oh-so-subtle nudge to his hand, to which he then places his hand over his left breast pocket. You could also see her son watching his mother to make sure he was doing it right. Now, if you could only get Donnie Don Don to make more eye contact with women who aren't his own daughter, maybe his disapproval rate would drop and he would start making less mistakes. But oh, Donnie boy, you fail. And for any of you who have not seen or had the pleasure of watching the short stream of him forgetting to put his hand over his heart for the national anthem, please go stream it. I can include a link in there of something, but it's worth every minute of, I guess in a sense it's not, because all it is more disgraceful and shame brought upon us. So thank you again for joining me. And I hope some of you got a little bit of a laugh out of this. It's all we can hope for nowadays.